Hey, welcome back to another episode of It's a Football Thing. As always, I'm your host, RJ, and joined by my fellow co-hosts and champion mates, Scott the Gooner and Rob the Red Devil. How are we, guys?
Good evening.
Well, again, another big win for the Zuri. I'm happy.
And
Absolutely.
RJ, before you get too far into your intro, happy birthday, champion. How many years young today, mate?
I'll give you, first of all, thank you very much, Scott, and I'll give you a guess. It's in between 30 and 40. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, that's a safe option, mate, with that haircut. Yeah, no, happy birthday. What's if
Thanks,
the happy
mate.
birthday, Frank? You change your name.
Yeah, for those not on YouTube, I've put in my name description, happy birthday, Frank. So those that don't know, for some reason, I'm an avid Super Frank Lampard supporter, and I happen to share my birthday with him. So if you're listening, buddy, off chance, Frank, happy birthday, legend, and wish you all the very best, mate. But thanks, boys. Appreciate it a lot.
It's nice to be here on YouTube this evening, and this will be going out on audio as well via all the usual platforms, Spotify, Apple, Google. But it's really important. We have been building this baby up from the ground. Subscribe, like, hit the notifications bell, tell your auntie, uncle, cousin. We want to build this thing from the ground up, and the feedback we're seeing is that you guys are really engaging with the YouTube content and the podcast content. So keep it up, because we're a family here at It's a Football Thing.
Yeah, very well said, Scott. I think the important part here is we're trying to look for diversity, because we know not everybody can listen to us on Spotify. Not everybody loves to jump on YouTube. But the point here is we're trying to be flexible and fabulous, and hopefully you're enjoying our content regardless of the format you choose to tune in to us three guys talking what we love, and that's football, and in particular have a focus on the Euros at the moment. So maybe we should just get straight into it and not muck around, boys. What do you think?
Sounds great, mate.
Let's do this thing. Same as last week, for those joining us on YouTube, we're going to look at the tables. For those listening in, you'll be able to hear what we're talking about. We're going to start with Group A.
Yeah, look, Borgie, I think he's the birthday boy, he gets break down the Italian game first, I reckon.
Why, thank you. And what a start. What a group. Group A, top of the pile, the mighty Azzurri. As Robbie said, it's a great week to be an Italian supporter. And what can we say? We're trying to be objective as possible here with a little bit of passion. But I think most would agree that Italy is right up there in terms of the form team of the competition at the moment. And another back-to-back 3-0 result. And you can't argue the fact that while we're not versing the heavy hitters of the competition, what we have shown is both consistency and variety, because Turkey, on one hand, in the last match day round, we all agreed here we're playing for the point and we're just trying not to lose. Whereas I felt Switzerland, while they had some pragmatism, they did try to enjoy a bit more of the possession, and Italy had to deploy a different strategy to break down the Swiss. And I thought overall it was a very deserved result. What do you think, Rob?
Yeah, man, I agree with everything you said. I enjoyed that one a little bit more, obviously, than the Turkey game. I felt like we attacked in both. For this one here, I really felt our possession, our passing, our counter attacks, our attack in general was just really good. And like you said, Switzerland did come out and, like weren't as pragmatic as Turkey. But yeah, I felt comfortable once we got that goal. Like obviously we had that little bit of the disallowed goal from Chiellini off the corner. But then after we got our first goal, we were in cruise control and the boys are enjoying themselves, man. And they're entertaining to watch. And for years and years and years, it's stereotypic being that the Italians are boring to watch. Yes, it's always been Catenaccio, 1-0 defense, whatever. But this team under Mancini is entertaining. They want goals.
Yeah, spot on. And they're hitting them, aren't they?
I was going to say, I'm not sure if you boys caught it, but Rob, you mentioned the disallowed goal to Chiellini, and I know the guys at Opta Sports, they were talking about it in the panelist group, saying by definition it's a very straightforward call, but in the spirit of the game sort of philosophy, it's one of those ones where do they look at this as the administration after these major events and say, is this really trying to mitigate what we're trying to cut out here? Because it just looked like a nice goal, and unfortunate for Chiellini, who might not go on and score again. But regardless of if it's Italy or whoever, I don't know. To me, it's one of those ones where you just think, is this really what we want to cut out in terms of goals? I just wanted to see what you guys thought of that.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. Like I said, I agree. I've seen worse things than that given before, like obviously previously to all the VARs and stuff. But yeah, like if you look at that in normal time, like I know they slow it down, but in normal time, I was like, yeah, sweet, goal.
Yeah, probably a little bit harsh, but still carrying on the theme from last week. I think the standard's still being really high, so I don't think anyone's losing any sleep over that.
Agreed.
Also, Wales doing the business over Turkey, boys in the group. What was a good performance by them again? Turkey, underwhelming, just really disappointing, flat, boring, and for me personally, it was really nice to see Aaron Ramsey hit a goal.
Mate, great touch off the chest and finish, and the ball from Bale was just as good. So they look good. I do have to say, I'm nearly embarrassed, man. Turkey have put me under the bus, mate. I talked them up, and look, as I said to you boys during the week, to me they're the dead donkeys, not the dark horses, mate.
No, I told you, we both.
But you know what? Even though I was probably the less fancy of Turkey, I think it's fair to say a lot of supporters gave them a bit of an outside chance to progress pretty fast. So don't feel too bad about the not so sensational Turkish players at the moment.
Let's move on to Group 2. Belgium have already qualified. They did so with a nice 2-1 win over Denmark, so that they've done the business. Russia and Finland both locked on 3 points. What are your thoughts on this group, Robbie?
Yeah, well, like I said, Belgium's through. Like, just quickly on that game, I don't know if you guys caught it, but Denmark were great in that first half. This was literally a game of two halves, man. They absolutely dominated. They scored the goal inside 2 minutes. And then that's not rocket science, but Martinez made the change at halftime, bring on De Bruyne, and mate, that guy is just his class. He got a goal and assist, but just the team just ticked over with him there. Hazard came on as well, so his big boys are fit now and ready to go deep in this competition. So watch out for them. As far as the other boys, Russia got the win this week, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, they scraped a 1-0 against Finland.
Yeah, so like I said, I think this one here, it could be interesting. I think Denmark can still make it if they get a high scoring win. Maybe 3 points has got people through before, so who knows?
Yeah, we'll have to see. RJ, you have any thoughts on that group, mate? It's a little bit of a dead rubber in there.
Well, I don't know. To be honest, between Russia and Finland, I was expecting Denmark to be the one that's going to get out with Belgium. So I look like a little bit of a turkey, pun intended. But look, we knew Belgium were going to be the front runners here. Denmark, their campaign was thrown into disarray with the whole Eriksen Hart debacle. Yeah. And I think a little bit of credit's probably got to be given to Finland too for keeping themselves in the race, because I thought they were very much a passenger. But that's what these big competitions do. They spring up these surprises, and that's why we like to follow on. So, yeah, we'll see where that one goes.
Boys, moving on to Group C. Netherlands are through. They had another really solid performance with that 2-0 win over Austria. I thought it was pretty tidy. They did the business. They attacked well. I was a little bit suspect over their defence after that first game against Ukraine, but they seemed much more composed against Austria. And Austria had some chances late on, but yeah, well, it was a nice performance by Netherlands, and no one really spoke about them prior to the competition. I don't know, do you boys think they could go on and become a force later in this comp?
I put them kind of on the same level as the talk of Italy at the moment. Like both obviously missed out on the last major tournaments, and both have got young squads incoming. And yeah, like I said, they're both kind of little dark horses. Like I said, not much people talking about them before the start of the tournament. Yeah, all they're doing is winning and beating the teams in front of them. So they're both through on 6 points each, and who knows what can happen from here.
Yeah, for me, I don't know. Look, it's hard to say. I don't think they've been super convincing, but don't get me wrong, they're racking up the wins. It's 2 out of 2. They conceded a couple goals. Like with Italy, even though trying to put my bias aside, I'm not convinced in terms of the overall dominance of Netherlands. Like, I don't know, like once they start facing the real teams of the tournament, so to speak, I do question whether or not they've got enough mentality collectively, because they've got some quality star individual players or rising talent. I'm just not sure whether or not they've got the right fortitude to go real deep in this tournament. But hey, stranger things have happened, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. It's looking like it's going to come down in that group to Ukraine versus Austria
Yes.
for who clinches second spot.
Yeah.
It's a really hard one to predict. I didn't think that the Ukraine would be doing too much in this tournament, but they have had a lot of attacking spark. That they've hit some goals. They've been relatively exciting to watch. One of the smaller nations in the tournament. I know you've probably watched the most games out of all of us, Robbie. You think Ukraine go through or Austria in second place?
Definitely Ukraine. If you remember from me in our preview, I had them top in the group over Holland. Obviously that didn't happen, but yeah, I definitely think they have enough firepower. But up front with their boys, I was happy enough that I captained Yarmolenko in our fantasy,
Oh,
so he
nice.
delivered for me. But yeah, look, I just exactly again what you said. They're just a nice attacking team under Shevchenko, and I think they'll do Austria anyway.
Yeah. I could never pick Yarmolenko after what he did against Chelsea with that 3-2 win at West Ham Stadium. But no, he's a quality player, and I'm with you on that one, Rob. I reckon I'll get through as well.
Boys, Group D. Isn't this one nicely poised? No qualification is secured here. Our good friends at England proclaiming that it was coming home after a 1-0 win in the first match. But not so pleasing against Scotland with that 0-0 draw. And I have to say, I did a match review of this match last night, and I was with a few Poms and a Scotsman. And the kind of common consensus was that England was disappointing. Southgate was the major factor that really let him down with negative selections and lack of action. But the Scots took that so much more seriously. You could feel that it was a rivalry for Scotland. You couldn't quite feel that from the English boys. But I thought it was an entertaining 0-0. There was plenty of fight, particularly in the middle. Your boy, Billy Gilmore, RJ.
The Scottish Iniesta, how good was he? He is, I feel so vindicated for talking him up, because even though I know he struggles to make the first team regularly for Chelsea, the hype's real with him. I think his challenge is getting those consistent minutes. But as you can see, and I think I spoke about it earlier for you today, Scott, I saw a stat was around when he's made his debut across Premier League, Champions League, FA Cup, he's been the man of the match in these respective performances. And again, it's not an indicator of how he performs over a whole season, but the stars are looking bright for this young Scottish superstar. So who knows how far this guy can go? Robbie,
your thoughts on that match?
Well, yeah, like you, like me, I really thought this was going to be a statement win for England. You know, everyone, all the kind of big boys that have looked good so far have come out and had a 3-0 or, you know, really attacking and stuff like that. And I said, dear boys, I said, England against Scotland at Wembley in front of a home crowd, this has got to be the time when Southgate's got to let the shackles off and they're going to show, hey, we're real contenders in this competition. But, mate, I was bitterly disappointed. And like you said, I thought Scotland stood up to the challenge and they were the better of the two for me.
Absolutely. I thought, no bias intended, but I thought Kieran Tierney did a brilliant job for Scotland as well. He was very assured at the back and he made some really dangerous runs and crosses. So McTominay as well.
I was going to say all our boys in our respected teams really stepped up in that game.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, I look at that England squad, and I was saying this last night. There's so much talent that hasn't even seen a minute of tournament time yet. Now, obviously, was left out. I'm not shocked by that. He was probably deserving of being left out when you look at guys like Sancho, who are on the bench that haven't played, like Bellingham, who can do a job at Dortmund, but he can't do a job for England. I didn't think this was a game where you needed Phillips and Declan Rice.
100% agree.
I understand you don't want to concede, but maybe this was the one where you be a little bit more brave and one of those boys sits to bring on a more attacking player.
Just quickly, how out of form is Harry Kane also, man? He's supposed to be a top goal scorer for the competition. He just doesn't look right at all.
Yeah, I wonder if that's because they're just failing to get him involved as much as he would have liked, and he's not getting the same service. But also, maybe we're got to give a bit of credit to both Scotland and Croatia for doing a good job on keeping him quiet as well. So I think it's a two-sided coin here. But I agree with you, Scott, in terms of the whole Declan Rice, Calvin Phillips thing and the broader theme of just because what worked in one game doesn't mean it will work in the next game. And I think we saw, and another example coming back to the Azzurri is that they largely kept a similar shape, but they also made a few tweaks to it, and that was the difference as well for us because it wasn't going to be the same type of game. And I think Southgate was getting a lot of plaudits for his specific game management of this specific tie against Croatia, who are a notoriously difficult team. But that doesn't translate over to a fixture where they should really be getting the win despite how passionate and brave the Scots were. So it's just another one of those situations where Southgate continues to get questioned. So we'll see how much this affects them going further.
And speaking of teams and that have disappointed in this tournament, you don't have to look much further than Croatia. Coming off a World Cup final, they've been really underwhelming. They're on 1 point in this group. They had a 1-1 draw against the Czechs. A little bit of controversy in that game. But I would not be saying with any certainty that they're going to get a result against Scotland. From what I saw, if Scotland can approach the match with that much intensity, I don't think they'll beat Croatia. But I could see there being a draw in that game. I wouldn't rule Scotland out.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know, man. To be honest, like I understand that, but I also think now, based on the experience of Croatia, now this is the last roll of the dice, and I dare say that we're going to get an all-out from them. And will their experience ultimately be too much for a very passionate Scots? We'll have to see. But yeah, I don't know. This is what makes this group particularly exciting, is that it's all open for discussion.
Yeah, they have nothing up front. Rebic, he's not the man who's going to, lead the line for a team that achieves anything. I think he's got some talent, but not.
He's in the They're playing they're playing Rebic in how they played Mandzukic. He's a different player to how Mandzukic is. He normally drifts in off the left or the right. Mandzukic was a proper number 9, and it's just not working for him like that.
Yeah, I'm going to see. I think that the likes of Kramaric and Perisic are going to have to step up. Even our boy Kovacic is really going to have to get more hands-on along with Modric, really just to help find those goals, because at the moment Ante Rebic isn't really doing a great job at leading that line, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, and we'll probably talk about that a little bit more in the predictions, I dare say, later on. Group E, this one again as well, tightly poised. Sweden at the top with 4 points, Slovakia second with 3 points, Spain on 2 and Poland on 1. This is anybody's group, boys. What did you think about the Spain-Poland game? Did you catch it?
Yeah, I watched that one this morning. Yeah, man, like, what can I say? Spain's just so up and down, mate. Like, I actually think that's a solid point for Poland today. And Lewandowski got his goal, which I was very happy for.
Your mate.
Yeah, look, he done a good job. It was a great header to score that. And, Spain had a missed penalty during the match. That didn't help him, and obviously missed a few other opportunities. But, man, I could it's a very hard it's very hard to see who's going to advance in that. And I reckon maybe Sweden could obviously be the one that could go through. But who knows? Anyone in that group can still get through. A win for Poland can put them through, and they're in last at the moment. So who knows? Yeah,
it's exciting. I mean, and Sweden had the goods with a 1-0 over Slovakia as well. That was a tight game. It wasn't a comfortable one for Sweden, but they'd be really happy with those points. I actually think they're going to top this group. Sweden.
They're very defensively sound. Sweden, very tight and compact at the back. They normally only win 1-0 and stuff, but they get the job done.
And who was it that was telling me that Morata was the better choice over Werner here? Just again.
Hey, Morata scored.
Morata's got 1 goal.
How many's Werner got?
It's pretty hard to score when you've had 20 minutes, but that's okay. That's fine.
Why has he had 20 minutes?
Why?
Because Germany's got so much depth. But anyway, I just thought he played not so great, did he? Poor Morata.
Nah. Did you say when he came off, he was the crowd? I don't think they'll clap him back.
Well, he's got to step up, eh? But yeah, that's another exciting group, definitely.
Speaking of exciting groups, boys, let's Let's move on. Group F, the fabled group of death. We've got France at the top on 4 points. They had a disgusting draw. I'll unpack that in a second. We've got Germany and Portugal both on 3 and Hungary on 1 point at the bottom. That result for France is what I feared, and I'd said it to you boys in our preview. I don't worry about France later in the tournament. I worry about group stage France because they are notorious for coming out of the blocks slowly. They had a really good result against the Germans, but last night they were so wasteful. They had plenty of opportunities at the start. I actually really think Benzema has disrupted the attacking flow and harmony of this squad. I think Giroud needs to be starting, regardless of any beef there may be between him and Mbappe, because with Benzema in there, Mbappe's looking dangerous, but not as dangerous. Griezmann's looking dangerous, and he's probably been their best defensive player. But it's not clicking, and that result was so frustrating because, honestly, they should have been up. They dominated the first half. They had plenty of attacking play, but kudos to Hungary as well. They held on and they held their line. They took their chance, and they've got a point that they were absolutely rocking in that stadium too. I don't know if you had any thoughts on that game, boys, but that's my mini rant done.
Yeah, well, for me, what I thought was that, like you said, they were just so wasteful. 16 shots, 4 on target, but Hungary had 3 shots on target. So it's not like the Hungary keeper had to make a stack of saves and it was just one of those world-class efforts. It's just France were more wasteful, but respect, of course, to Hungary for frustrating them and causing them to be off their lines. But what can you say? This is, again, one of those situations where sometimes a star team is better than a team of stars. And I'm keen to see where the French go from here, because they've got a pretty difficult clash coming up against a team that got absolutely battered by Germany. And as it stands, this is what I predicted the group to finish like. But I have no confidence that this is how it's going to stay when it comes to the end of it.
Robbie?
Yeah, look, I have to take my hat off to RJ. Like I said, I was obviously being Italian. Me and RJ know how Germany have been for always in tournaments, but this is the first time I've actually kind of looked down on them. Their form coming into the tournament wasn't great. They're a bit all over the place. Their coach is leaving. There's not a lot of great positivity coming in to the tournament. And I have to say, after watching that game last night, they scare me now. They scare me. Like I said, they weren't bad at all against France, and it was only the only goal that got France over the line. And to come from behind and completely dominate a good Portugal side last night was that scary. I wouldn't want to be playing them. Like I said, we have a great record, and I don't think we would meet up with them. But Germany, everyone's got to watch out for them now, because they got, like I said, they got the just as much as depth as your French and your Portugal, and mate, they look hungry.
And they pardon the pun, but yeah, I thought Kai Havertz absolutely brilliant. But even if you take out the 2 goals, his movement, his passing, his footballing brain that was on display, he had a brilliant game. Like that for me, if he starts doing that for Chelsea consistently, Premier League's in trouble, because he was.
Well, that's what I said, mate. I tell you what, Scott, you're right, because the big price tag is what put people off with him, and he had the COVID, and then he had that time off, and then there was disruption with the managerial change, and then he was slowly nurtured back into the team. But as he's slowly being gelled into that false 9 position in that more advanced area, and obviously scored the Champions League winning final, the goal for the final, he's really come on leaps and bounds. And as I like to say, for another pun, it's the Kai before the storm. So we'll have to see what happens.
Just quickly, how good was Robin Gosens, mate? He was really good today. He had a cracker game today. Really, really good. He's a wing back, mate. I thought he was playing a winger today. He was really good.
Did you see the story on social media where he asked
with Ronaldo?
Years back, and Ronaldo did what you'd expect him to do. He was arrogant. Mate, Goosens did well.
Just quickly, just a quick shout out to the Serie A in general. I don't know if you guys have seen the little stats
Man
and
of the
stuff
match.
on the internet. They've got the majority of the men of the matches in the tournament. If you look at the players that have come from the Serie A, they've been the most goals that have come out of the Serie A. They're dominant for the Farmers League, as everyone like to say. I'm just going to give them a bit of a shout because they've been performing. Players, not just Italians, just players in general from Serie A have been performing in this tournament.
Yeah, no, well, you can't argue.
Well said. Well said.
Can't argue with that, can we? That group's poised nicely, and I'm really looking forward to unpacking it with you guys after match day 3. Players that maybe stood out for you in this match day. For me, I've already mentioned him. I hope I'm not stealing your man, RJ, but just Billy Gilmore. For me, at his age, to be thrown into a big game like that at Wembley with the home crowd against you and, being the underdogs on paper as well, I thought he did such a great job. He bossed it, confident, strong in the tackle, even though he's not physically a big lad. I feel like it was a really big breakout game for him, and what a lovely headache for Thomas Tuchel to have, like what you do with this kid next season.
Yeah, that's a very good shout. I'll take someone. I'm not sure if it's from our Azzurri, but I don't think it's going to be the player you think, Robbie. For me, surprise one, another Chelsea boy. I'm going to go with Jorginho, even though Locatelli was someone that's obviously been on hot form. He's one of those unsung heroes for me that he's metronomic. He makes the clock tick for the Azzurri. I saw his stats after the game, and there's this false perception that given his physical limitations, which are very obvious, he's not known to be a super athlete. But what he does do, he does get himself busy in both facets of the game. He made, I think, a game-high amount of tackles, as you'd expect from a DM position. But he also was very involved in key chances created and was quite progressive. So he was very involved in the build-up, which I think is something that's a bit underrated. So the more progressive he plays and the system that allows him to flourish to his strengths, you get a very strong team. So, yeah, again, a low-key shout-out, but I thought Jorginho was, again, on point.
Mate, that's a great shout. And I don't think it's low-key. I think he deserves the raps, mate. He's the key for our team to go far for me. But, yeah, you said quickly, I think Locatelli. Look, for us and people that do tune into a bit of Serie A, we know who he was. Obviously, a lot of people were like, oh, who's this Locatelli guy now? Everyone's talking about buying him. And you know what? They're only asking for 40 million. So for someone for how young he is and the talent he's got, 40 million is still. I know City were linked to him last year. And like I said, still no one really.
He's going to smash it at Arsenal next season, Robbie.
Mate, he's coming to Juve, I'm telling you.
He's going to look good in the jersey.
Oh, he's Juve bound, trust me. But yeah, like I said, a quick shout out to him. Like I said, obviously Robin Goosen's in the Germany game, and I know it's not a dark horse or nothing, but mate, Kevin De Bruyne, for me, he's just class. He came on for that 45 minutes, completely changed the game, and he has everything, mate. I don't know if you've seen the goal, left foot strike. It was so pure outside the box. His touches, I love him. He's world class.
He's a pretty complete footballer, isn't he?
Yeah, and obviously we've got to make mention to Kai Havertz because he was a very strong performer in that Germany game. So, yeah, some good shouts there, boys.
Absolutely. Robbie, let's get to some predictions, my man.
Yeah, boys, I'll try and go for more of the important games this week that have something to do, but I'm going to be biased and still throw in the Italian game. So we'll go Italy.
Got it, mate. You have to do it. Yeah, well, you have to do it. But look, it's going to be a bit of a rotation. Top spot still on the line. I still expect us to get the job done, but I'm probably going to be a little bit more conservative and go not 3-0 yet again, although that would be nice. We'll lock in 2-0.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be 8-9 changes for us, but I'm going to say 1-0. I don't think Wales are going to get this top spot, only for the draw kind of thing.
Yeah, interesting. I think it'll be a tight match, and if you rotate as much as you think they will, Robbie, I could see this one maybe being a 1-1 draw. Wales have some quality, and Italy are onto a good thing at the moment, but with that rotation, you've got some players who aren't as sharp. So I'm going 1-1 if there's heavy rotation.
If you're picking a draw, Borgie, at least pick a 0-0. We ain't conceding, mate.
We'll see. We'll have to wait. You're conceding at some point, my man, because you're not winning this tournament. So you will concede.
All right, boys, important one. Russia, Denmark.
Cool. I might start that one off. I'm feeling a Russia 1-0 win.
Yeah,
I'm thinking a 1-1 draw.
I think Denmark will get this one over the line and try and make it to the next round. 2-1 to Denmark, this one. Ukraine, Austria, another one to secure the next round.
Yeah, I'll kick that off. I think I'm on the Ukraine train, as they say, and I think they will go and steal this one 2-0.
I'm going 2-1 to the Ukraine.
I'm agreeing with the birthday boy, 2-0. We'll go both games in this group. Czech and England.
You want to go first on that one?
Nah, you go first.
It's coming home, boys. England 2-0.
Aj?
I'm going to say 2-1 to England.
I'm putting my house on a 0 or draw in this game because there's no way England are going to want to get top spot. This is exactly where they want to be. They want to avoid that France, Portugal, Germany game. Mate, Czech Republic are topping the group on goals. Draws plenty for them. Croatia, Scotland.
Your turn, Arch.
I'll go first this one. Yes, I think Croatia will get the job done here 1-0.
Boogie?
Yeah, I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw in this one as well.
I'm agreeing with you, Boogie. 1-1 in this one. All right, another one. Sweden, Poland.
I'm going to sound like a broken record. 1-1 in this one too. I'm feeling the 1-1 this week.
Very cool.
Yeah, I hear you. You know what? I think it'll be 2-1 to Sweden. Yeah,
I think this is bit of a flip of the coin. I'm going to agree with you, Aj. 2-1. I think Sweden have got enough to get this over. I like that Isaac he looks dangerous, man. Again, same group, that Slovakia, Spain.
Depends if Morata's playing. No, in all seriousness, I think that Spain will just get the job done here 1-0.
Boogie?
2-1 Spain. Morata to score again.
1-0 Spain. I'm going to be nice. All right, last one, the group of death, boys. Germany, Hungary.
Germany.
Gotta go. Yeah. 3-1, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll win. I actually reckon they'll win 3-0.
I agree again, 3-0. And the last one, Portugal, France, boys. You should be a blockbuster, considering the situation.
That's tough. That is a tough one.
Yeah.
I'll be brave and I'll kick it off. Oh, so hard. I know because Portugal's got it all to play for now. I mean, it's tough. I think, you know what, it's going to be one of those ones where there's not going to be a winner. I'm going to go for 1-1 here.
Well, what do you think?
I'm frustrated because the group shouldn't be this way. They should have done the business. I feel there's going to be goals. France will want some revenge. So I'm going to really, really tensely go 2-1 France. I'm basing it on absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I really don't know who I'm going to go. The only thing I like about it is it's in Budapest. It's going to be in 68,000 full house, which would be good for the atmosphere.
Yeah.
I don't know. Look, I'm just going to go France. I don't even know what to predict. I'll go 2-1 France, but I have no idea who's going to win that game.
Man, it's going to be rough. It's just that group, we called it from the start. It's just so tight. And that result against Hungary really is just thrown a grenade into the middle of the group.
Yep.
So we'll have to wait and see. Speaking of things that are super duper tight, our fantasy comp.
Tight. Did you say tight?
Well, not for me, not between us.
Not for me.
I've got the top of the ladder, the top 10 showing. Well done to Massacre, Matthew Ben, 23. Sitting pretty at the top, we've got, I don't know if I'm saying it right, Podger Sam in second place, 5 behind. And from there, we've got Robbie, our boy, representing in 5th spot. Exciting comp so far.
It's been good, man, and that's been a big reason why I've actually nearly watched all the games, just to get the lineups an hour before, see who's playing, and it makes every time someone scores a goal, who got the assist, who got the clean sheet, it makes it a little bit more exciting.
RJ, just the interest of the people watching on YouTube.
I haven't used my wild cards or anything, mate. I'm keeping it low key. I'm down in 50th or something.
Oh, well, there you go. I'm in 35th.
Good stuff.
So
I'm in 51, I think. Yeah.
Are you 51? If I scroll down, no, you're not 51. Oh, you're tied 51st.
Tie 51st. Let's just say it's RJ's birthday, so maybe if we just put him in a position of his age, it'll make him feel a bit better.
Maybe. I reckon maybe I should use all my wild card or limitless ones up front and just see what happens.
Oh, geez. Boys, before we move into some quick fires and wrap this thing up, anything else you wanted to mention or discuss from the groups? I had one point I wanted to bring up. The rumours and the talk about England potentially throwing games and wanting to finish second. How do you feel about that? Do you think there's any truth or?
Like I just said, Boogie, I honestly think, well, especially for this next game, I'm that confident in a draw because why would you go to win that game and go to take a chance on getting knocked down the next round, possibly against a powerhouse team, when you can take the easy route like they got in the World Cup? I honestly think that they'll stay as it is. It's hard because, you'd think you'd like now to please the fans, you might throw in like a Sancho and stuff like that, and what do you do? Like just hold possession of the ball and
stuff?
stuff?
And tell them not to score. Like,
yeah, it's hard.
If there's any, I like to think I might be being naive, and we'll get your thoughts in a tick, Arch. I like to think that these guys are professionals and they don't want anything other than to win every game they're in. I think if England are deliberately playing for second, and I don't believe they are, so I'm going to put that on the table now. I actually don't think they're deliberately playing for second. I just think they've been disappointing. But if they are playing to not top their group, I think they should be embarrassed, and I hope they get knocked out in the most humiliating fashion possible. You go out to win. At some point, you're going to have to play a big fish, and I actually think teams like France, Portugal, and Germany, who are then going to have had 2 games against a big fish, are going to be better equipped to handle that really high stakes later tournament football against big clubs. I think if England try that, A, it's incredibly risky. B, it brings a game into disrepute. C, when you do have to play a big team, you're going in underprepared. Arj, I don't know what your thoughts were, man.
Yeah, look, is it naive to think that everybody plays to win every game, or do you go there to bigger picture and play there to win the tournament? Like, you know what I mean? It's exactly. Is it a bit of gamesmanship, and it might not be the players not told to win, but it might be a little bit of tactics that are deployed. He might pick a whole even more defensive setup. He might tell the players not to go overboard and not overexert yourselves, but only pursue the opportunity if it arises. But it is dangerous, I agree, because it's tournament football. You don't want to sort of avoid big teams for the sake of trying to verse little teams, but go in there with the wrong mentality and end up getting knocked out by one of these little teams because you haven't got your head on properly trying to get the easy run in. When you get to that stage, there are no easy runs in there. There's easier relative to others. But at the end of the day, once they start getting into the round of 16 knockouts and past that, it's the business end of the season, and you can't go in there with that mindset. So, look, it'll be interesting. Will they go full strength? Probably not. But at the same time, I would expect them to go out there and generally try to win it, but not expose themselves to key injuries. So that'll be an interesting one. I do think players like Harry Kane and Raheem Sterling will get rested because they've been exhausted now, and they're not obviously very effective based on the past 2 games. Yeah, and they probably will play better, but it depends who's in that middle and the back 3 or back 5 as well. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't give too much credence to that tanking type philosophy.
Yeah. Look, if you're an England fan, it's as simple as, would you want to play in the round of 16? Would you want to play a Portugal, France, or Germany, or would you want to play a Slovakia or Sweden? You know, If England have been talked up as a favourite for this competition, them going out in a round of 16 is a major fail for them. So if they had their chance to get an easier route even to the quarterfinals, one more, I reckon they definitely take it.
Oh, look, everyone wants an easier route. I get that. I'm not saying that if you had the choice, you wouldn't take it, but I just think nothing's 100% secured for them. They're pretty safe.
4 points will get them through. Even 4 points would get them even one of the best
I
place teams.
just think, you know what? If I honestly believe that I'm part of a squad and we are tournament favourites and we are the squad that's going to go and win this thing and we can win this thing, I'm not scared. I'm not scared to play a bigger team because I know at some point I'm going to need to. And like I said, I truly believe that the tournament winner comes from the group of death. And I think those teams, I really think Italy are going to go far. They're probably my pick who's not in the group of death. But I think that experience of having those really high intensity early matches now are going to prep them squads far better to be equipped to handle the challenges that come. That's just my opinion. I don't buy into tanking. I don't even like the idea of it. And I think they're playing a very dangerous game if they're trying to hand pick a position. There's too many factors that could go right or wrong.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's just about, again, trying to think about the whole tournament perspective. For me, what's more important is equally it's about momentum, but for me, equally it's about making sure that you're keeping up that fitness and reducing that injury risk. So, yeah, again, Southgate's notorious for causing a bit of a shake-up in terms of going against the grain, so to speak. So who knows who he's going to pick? He'll probably put Mason in centre back, like you said the other week, Scott.
I don't think he knows what he's going to pick. So we're not going to be able to guess. Did you have anything else you wanted to add, Robbie, or we're going to move on?
Nah, man, I'm happy to move on.
I just wanted to chuck one more question at you boys before we go to quick fires. My wife's had to remind me many times this week that I'm not as young as I used to be. Like there have been a couple of instances of falling asleep on the couch on the car. That's exactly where I'm at. Falling asleep on the couch, maybe snoring a little bit more profusely than normal. Man, I'm physically busted. I don't know if you can see it on my face. Robbie, I know you watch nearly every game. How are you holding up, man?
Mate, I think I've literally missed 3 games all competition, and I said to my wife exactly the same thing this afternoon. I said, mate, I'm living on I'm getting up in the morning and having Nurofen for breakfast, mate, because I was nearly gonna. I feel like I should apologize to the viewers, mate. I look like death warmed up tonight. I feel it, mate. It's just
I don't think they tune in for your good looks, mate.
Mate, I don't mean to. Yeah, I don't mean to brag, but like I said, back when 2010, so what was that, 11 years ago, my record in the World Cup was 62 out of 64 games I watched live. Mate, I cannot do it anymore. That was pre-house, pre-children, pre-family, I just went to work, came home, watched the games, and that's it. It's the good thing is, this is the hard part that we've got through match day 2, because now match day 3, all the games of the group are at the same time. So I think the 11 o'clock maybe goes away, and then as the game starts
2 a.m. for us.
Yeah, 2 and 5 and stuff. Man, the 11 o'clock is the one I think that hurts me the most, because I normally try and get an hour before the game, and then you wake up after an hour and then try and nod off at half time. But that's it. We've done the hard part, and like I said, the games will slowly start to reduce now, so it'll be good.
It's funny for what I was going to say, it's funny for our listeners because obviously we're from down under Australia, and from our point of view, the games have been at 11 p.m., 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. I wish we're not like in the US or the UK. So that's sort of the practical realities of dealing with what we're dealing with. But we do it. Why? Because it's a football thing.
That's it, mate.
And a nice little plug. But yeah, no, look, for me, it's one of those things where, fortunately, and this is great work to our down under provider Optus, they've been really good at providing the replays, and not just the replays of the standard match. They've got all various replays in terms of the really short ones right through to the 90 minutes. So unlike Rob, I haven't been able to be fully committed with all of the live ones. I've been trying my best, but fortunately, I've been able to catch up a few hours later and really get stuck into some of those other games and a different type of highlights. So, yeah, it's been a bit of a challenge. I'm fatigued. We're doing podcasts, streams. It's all happening. And then that old chestnut called life and work and family. So, but we do our best, mate. We do our best.
And that's it, boys. And we've got to look after ourselves. It was Men's Health Week last week. So to all the listeners out there, make sure looking after yourself. And to any of the dads, I think in Europe, it's Father's Day for them.
Happy Father's Day.
Yeah, to all the dads out there, happy Father's Day. Let's do some quick-fire questions. Robbie, you've got a football-related one.
Yeah, boys. I know it's a Euro thing, but just quickly we'll cross over to the Copa. Who are you guys backing, or who are you guys supporting for the Copa America?
Chile for me. We've got a couple of Chilean mates, Carlos, Camilo. I've got an uncle who's Chilean, so I back them.
Aj?
Yeah, fair call. Yeah, good blokes, those ones you mentioned. For me, I'm going for the team that has the best player to ever played a game, in my opinion, apart from Frank Lampard. So Argentina for me.
Argentina. Look, boys, I agree. I've got two I like to. I think if I'm backing who's going to win, I think Brazil's going to have too much of this competition.
Same.
And they're my greatest rivals. I do not like Brazil. I would never follow them. But I always like to follow, like I said, you, Borgie. I like Chile and Colombia. I've got a good mate that's Colombian. I've got two Colombian jerseys bring back from Colombia. And yeah, unfortunately, the two big boys, James Rodriguez and Falcao aren't playing, but I like the Chileans and the Colombians.
Very good, very good.
Yeah.
RJ, we had the pleasure of having a nice birthday lunch today. We got some steak, got some ribs, and that's where my question comes from. You can only have one. Do you go the steak or do you go the ribs? Robbie?
Ribs, pork, mate. Pork ribs.
I like that. And why did you have to caveat if you can only have one? Because I was going to say, why not have both, like the old El Paso commercial?
No.
But
Get off the fence, man.
I know, you know me, but I'll go for ribs. I'm with Robbie. Pork ribs all the way.
I do have to say, RJ makes a hectic sugu with the ribs in it as well. So it's just not your traditional, barbecue sauce ones. He does it good in the sauce as well.
Yeah, look, boys, I'm going ribs as well.
And last but not least, what is a current song that you're enjoying particularly at the moment? Can be any genre, any school, just a song you like at the moment that you play.
Yeah, I've been listening to a lot of old school 90s R&B lately. So for me, a little bit of Usher, My Way.
Nice.
This is hard. I know I've been listening a little bit to in the 90s, but a little bit of Chris Brown. And I always get real this time of the tournaments. I always like to throw in those the World Cup songs or the internationals, like Shakira, Waka Waka. I love that song.
Nice. I've been listening to whatever the better half plays on Spotify in the car, but for me, it's that song, that one about, it's that Friday one, a Friday again, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
They love that song. The kids love that song.
They love it. It's Friday again. Yeah, that one.
I got no. I'm too busy listening to our podcast on repeat. I don't listen to music.
Trying to boost those numbers. Good man.
Yeah. Speaking of boosting the numbers, please don't forget to subscribe, like, hit the notification button.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And I just want to, before we look to close it out, I just want to again continue to thank our supporters. We do get your messages. I know that the boys in our group chat shared a lot of the feedback you guys provide. Sorry sometimes if we're not always super prompt in getting back to you, but let it be known publicly, we do appreciate it. We wouldn't do this without you. We love talking about it, but having your support and continuing to spur us on, it just helps us to figure out ways to make this a bit more enjoyable, hopefully from your perspective. So thank you very much for that. Boys, final comments?
Enjoy match day 3, boys. And everyone else out there.
I'm catching up on some rest, but enjoy the match day. France, don't let me down.
I look forward to Zuri making a 3 from 3 and continuing that trend. Until then, enjoy your week and stay safe.
Ciao ragazzi.
See you later.